Hey everyone, and welcome to D3 in 10 minutes or less. I'm Jasper, and today I'm going to talk to you about scales. Scales are the magical, mystical unicorn within D3. This is how you take data values and you translate them into web attributes. You can use it for things like color, sizing, positioning, all sorts of things. Yeah, let's get into it. So full disclosure, I recorded this probably 6 times already. Anything from a minute in I swore, or I finished it and it took 16 minutes. So this time we're going to be clean and crisp. So the very first type of scale you'll probably run into is something like scale ordinal. So scale ordinal really is just to translate from one list to another list. The way I like to use this is for categories and colors. So you can see here with any D3 scale, you pass in a domain and a range. So it's basically expected input and expected output. We get a little bit more magical in a bit here, but let's say I want to do cats, frogs, dogs. Let's actually get the thing right. And I want to do a range of 0, 50, 200. So with this, I would expect cats to be placed at the 0 axis at 0, frogs to be scooched in by 50, and dogs to be scooched in by 200. So let's see. Boom. Cats, frogs, dogs. That's scale ordinal. You don't want to use this for an x-axis. There's a better option that I'll show you in a second. I like to use this, like I said, for categorizing colors. So you can pass through an array of categories and then an array of colors, and it will always peg that category to that color. We'll see that in a little bit. Scale band. This is the one I like to use for x-axes for bar charts. So with this one, it's a little bit cooler. You pass in a set of categories again, but then for the range, you can just give a range of data points. As opposed to giving a specific like 3 to 3 mapping like we did in the last one, you can do, let's say, 10 categories to just 2 values, and it will space them within those 2. So again, let's go cats, dogs, frogs, cats, dogs, frogs, and let's give a range of 0 to 200. So just like the other one, this will have cats at 0 and frogs at 200. Just like the other one, this will have cats at 0 and dogs at 200, and it should have frogs at 100. So kind of evenly spaced in the middle. Boom. Okay. So the other cool thing with scale band is you can actually specify how much padding you want between each bar. So right now I've got a whole bunch of padding. I have it set to 0.8, which means 80% of each band is saved for spacing between the bars. I like to keep it at a 4:1 ratio of bars to padding. So let's do 0.2, that's 20%, or 1:4 of padding to bar. There you go. You see there's a bit more space within each band. The ticks for scale band will be spaced smack dab in the middle of that band. So that's scale band, best for bar charts. Scale time is really fun. For this one, you can actually pass in date objects, and then it'll get smart with you in a good way. So let's see, D3 time parse. I like to use this one for date attributes for date attributes. I like to use this one for line charts, because a lot of times lines are consecutive data points based off of temporal data. So this makes it nice and easy to, well, you'll just see in a second here. Let's go range 600. All right. Wow. Okay, so this one's super cool because you can pass in any set of values, and it infers what type of a date tick you want. So you can see here we have 2001 to 2010, and it does every year. Maybe I said wow a little bit too preemptively, but let's just go 2001 to 2002. So in theory, the tick is for every year. So what happens if we do this? Should it be just 2 ticks? No. So it actually spaces it out evenly between there. So you can see here we have, because it was just 1 year of gap between the 2 values, it goes 1 click down to month. So scale time is super cool. And again, this one's another nice one because you can pass in as many things in the domain as you want, and it just brings those into that specific range. So there you go, 2001 to 2002. Bibbidi boop. Scale linear is probably the most used scale within D3. This is that translation again. But this, you give an array just min-max value and min-max output. So this is what I like to use for y-axis and x-axis. If I'm doing a scatter plot, you can use this to size your dots. Yeah, so here, let's try this. Let's see, domain of 0 to 0 to a large number starting with 5 with a range of 0 to 300. So this should have the large number starting with 5 all the way to the right, 0 at the left, and some ticks in between. Let's see it. Boom. Okay, so not very legible. Sorry, folks. Let's try that. There we go. Oh, it's 5 million. Wonderful. Cool. Yeah, so that's scale linear. Again, great for x-axis, y-axis, and if you're sizing things, because it's a clean one-to-one, not one-to-one, but it's a clean translation. It does all of that math behind the scenes for you. Scale log is great for, again, with these large data sets. Let's say you have a data set where the range is from 0, or the domain is from 0 to 5 million, but most of the data points are actually like between 0 and 15. This is when a logarithmic scale is super helpful. So let's again go here, but let's say the domain is from 1. Let's again go 5 million just for giggles. And the range was, I think it was 0 to 800. Make sure we got that right. Yeah, okay. So the only thing that changed is we changed the linear to og, and look at that. Cool. It is a logarithmic scale. Yeah, so very cool. It's kind of like this super powered linear scale. Yeah, so those are the main scales. Let's see how it works in a chart. So you can see here we have a blank chart. Time check 3:30. We can do this. All right, cool. So what we're going to do is just first start with the scale ordinal. So we're going to say category list, which is a list of the categories within this data set. Spoiler alert, it's continent. Range will be D3 scheme dark 10. Or scheme dark 2. How about that? Let's click play. Look at that. The colors there changed. So it's mapped this category list against these colors to get me that. The X scale, we're going to do a logarithmic scale for this one again. So let's go D3.extent. Use data. Use data. Data structure dot x-axis range. Let's go an array margins dot left 2 dimensions dot width. Let's see what this does for us. Ooh, look at that. All right. One thing I like to add is nice. So nice makes the axis nice, easier to read. It adds some spacing within the domain, so it's nice round numbers. If I was to take this off, play again, it goes to the exact values. So let's actually leave it off for now for the X scale, and you'll see why if we have time. Yeah, we'll have time. So then for here, I'm just gonna copy this in because you've seen me use it already, so why spend time seeing me repeat it? Domain, except we're going to use what I've declared in the y-axis property in the range. So for y scales, it's the opposite of x scales as far as the range goes, because with SVGs you draw from the top down to the bottom. So the lowest values in the domain you want to map with the highest values in the height. It's kind of weird. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. Why is it lagging? Height. Don't forget to make it an array. Margins dot top. That's logarithmic too. Great. This one's nice. We're going to keep it nice. You'll see why. And R scale, last one. Again, let's copy D3 extent. Range is, so this is to size the radius. So for this, we're going to do a range of 2 pixels to, say 2 pixels to 10 pixels. Let's see how this looks. Boom. Okay. Whoa, what happened? Son of a gun. What's going on, observable? Oh, oh man, there you go. So we don't want to do the y-axis for radius, right? Duh. So for this, let's go to structure size by. Okay, click play. Everyone's nice, everyone's friendly. There you go. I almost rage quit this recording right there. 3, 2, 1. So at the buzzer, perfect. Okay. So yeah, great. Look at that. We built a chart using scales. So we had a couple different items. Beep, 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 beep. Nice. At the buzzer with a fail and a refresh. I think that's a win. So we built scales to use the color to place objects, to determine the categories, and to size the dots. These are the basic ways you can use scales. There's a lot more. But yeah, so just to recap, scale band is great for bars. Scale ordinal is great for colors and categories. Scale linear and log is great for placing objects along y-axes and x-axes. And scale log is great if you're using large data sets. So yeah, that's about it for that. If you have questions, throw them in the comments. If you like this, like the video. If you didn't like this, dislike the video, but please add a comment saying why you disliked it and what you'd like to see differently. If I said something wrong, let me know again. These videos are to help people learn. It's probably to help me in 6 months come back and say, oh yeah, that's how scales go. So yeah, I appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot, and we'll catch you next time. Be well.